Hey there, PaleoFX crew. It's Keith Norris. I'm back again. It's been a minute, and I have with me today Mr. Carl Hines. Carl Hines is can I call you an NLP master, Carl? Is that what you would be called?
You can call me an NLP master coach. Yes, you can. And a trainer.
Coach. Right on.
Yep.
Before we dive into this, I'll give just a little bit of time so we have people dive on if people are running a few minutes late. But just to kick things off, I've got to work with Carl in two different workshops I did with Deb and Brandon Yeager for Yo Clayton. With Deb and Brandon Yeager, and Carl is a fascinating human being. He's got a fantastic story and just an excellent trainer, an excellent coach. And Carl, maybe what you could do is just dive in with an overall view of what NLP is, because I think there's many, many misconceptions about NLP. You've probably heard every misconception you can.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been working with it for like 20 years. Yeah.
I've actually probably longer than that. 1985 is when I discovered NLP the first time. And in one way or another have been involved with it ever since. Yep. But as far as certified and living NLP, it's just about 6 years now.
Okay. Right on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've worked with a ton of clients, and I know you get this question all the time. What is NLP?
Yeah. And that's a great question. And I don't know if there's any one distinct answer that'll answer it for anybody, because it's a lot of things. It certainly is. It's a mindset. If nothing else, it's a mindset. It's how to take a look at how you're living at your life and how to create it in the way that you want it on your terms. So if you go into it more deeply on that, it's about how are you getting the results that you're getting? How are you creating that based on what you're really focused on internally? Because it's your internal focus that drives your behaviors, and your behaviors drive your results. So with NLP, we just simply look at results. What are the results somebody's getting? There's no right or wrong, good or bad. It's simply the results. And how is their thinking driving that behavior? And how do we change their thinking to get different results?
Excellent.
Yeah.
And let's talk to this a little bit, because I think many, many people do not either understand or give credence to the power of the subconscious mind.
Yeah.
Right? They may have heard about the subconscious mind, but most people operating in the day-to-day would say, because they've said this to me, I operate consciously all the time. I'm fully aware of what I'm doing all the time. And I kind of laughed to myself, because I'm like, that's what you think is going on.
Yep.
But in actuality, Carl, what is going on?
Well, if they're thinking that they're fully aware of what's going on, their conscious awareness is being taken up fully by them thinking they're fully aware, but it's a very small percentage of what's going on. And I don't know if it's 15% or 10% of what we do is done consciously, and everything else is at the unconscious level. The unconscious part of us is so strong and so powerful. What we think about consciously, it delivers. There's a saying that we have in NLP is the conscious mind is the goal setter and the unconscious is the goal getter. So whatever you focus on consciously, that then becomes the drive of the unconscious to deliver the goal, good or bad, clarity or no clarity. It just chases what you think about. But all the work is done at the unconscious level, and it's substantially more than what anybody can think about consciously.
Yeah, it really is powerful when you dive into it and you dive into the science behind it. I think that's why I really love NLP, is because there is so much science behind what is being taught here. And there's a ton of science. But then there's the art of it. There's the art of actually coaching somebody through it. There's the art of utilizing it with yourself in a self-hypnosis and self-trance kind of way. And obviously there's an art to coaching it. There's also an art to using it with whatever clients you might have if you're a coach. And it's not like you have to set somebody down and go, okay, I'm going to do NLP on you. It's in the way that you structure questions. It's the way that you talk to people. It's the way, really important, the way that you listen to what they're telling you, how they're telling you, how they're communicating to you, because that tells you a ton of how to feed back to them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It isn't what they're saying that matters to us. It's how they say it. And how they're saying it is out of their awareness. It's the unconscious level. They're aware of what they're saying, right? It's like an iceberg. The conscious part of the mind is the tip of the iceberg. right? That's what they're aware of. But as everybody knows, what's below the surface is much more than what's at the surface. So what we're after is a way to get past the conscious way they're thinking and get to the unconscious way. And it is done with questioning to start with, yes.
Right. And can you talk about the barrier between the conscious mind and the unconscious mind? Because this is one thing that I was never, I was cognizant of it, but I was never able to put it into a way that other people could understand. I use terms like volume control, like turn down the volume on the conscious mind, turn up the volume on the subconscious, and tried to find different metaphors for that, and nothing really worked. But the wedge that you guys talk about between the critical mind and the subconscious, I thought was very powerful. It's a great metaphor for.
Yeah. So excellent. And you use the layman terms, the wedge. The technical term is the critical faculty. Mm-hmm. So the wedge is the point where we care to discern between what's real and what's imaginary. And to the unconscious mind, everything is real and everything is now. It's only at the conscious level do we care to discern, is that real? Can I do that? Am I able to do that? Right? So when we bump up against this critical faculty, we're not using the power of our unconscious mind. Now, we're not born with this. When we're young, at the formative years, 0 to 7 years old, there is no critical faculty, and we're running around like little sponges absorbing everything. And at some point, we make a decision to start discerning between what's real and what's imagined, what we can do and what we can't do. And this wedge starts to get installed. It's based on beliefs, it's based on environment, it's based on many things. And then that wedge gets thicker and thicker and thicker over time, and it becomes one of the major limiting pieces between what we think we can do and what we think we can't or shouldn't do.
Yeah.
So with NLP, we have tools to make that wedge smaller and completely bypass it and get around the wedge into the unconscious mind.
Yeah. And you talked about being a sponge for like the first 7-ish years of your life, that you were just you're just completely open, taking everything in, all of the suggestions. And that is there's two sides of that coin. That is a very, very good thing. This is how human beings acclimate to their culture, learn the language, learn everything about their culture and their surroundings. That way they can survive and be a meaningful part of the tribe. The downside of that is you absorb everything, the good and the bad. And so
and you take it all as truth.
And you take it all as truth.
Yeah.
And these begin to become stories. And we use this in the psychedelic realm and in the plant medicine realm is do you believe that story that you're telling yourself? Is that a story that you believe? Do you want to keep that story, or do you want to change? Is that story hamstringing you? And if so, would you consider changing it? Because you can change it. And it doesn't have, this is one thing that I love about NLP is some people, for whatever reason or don't have access to plant medicine, don't feel comfortable in that realm, don't feel comfortable in psychedelics, don't know anybody qualified to work with all of the reasons. But NLP, from what I have experienced, can be just as effective with someone who knows what they're doing, just as effective in rewriting those stories.
Yeah, I would agree. I have not done any of the plant medicines. I've known many people that have. I know a lot of folks that have done the plant medicines within a few months, things are kind of the way they were before they ever went.
Right, exactly.
Whereas with the work of NLP, it is lasting change if they're willing to do the work. Yes.
Right. And that's a very, very important point I was going to bring up, because there is psychedelic use and plant medicine use without the integration. And I would consider the integration like the NLP part. In fact, that's what really excites Michelle and I, because when we came across Deb and Brandon, came across you, did the classes with Jaeger Training, we were like, that is the integration mode that we are looking for. That's exactly the set of techniques that we can really do big positive change with people.
Yeah.
And
it's the installation of the behaviors that create the change, to break through it and then create the change. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I can speak from personal experience. It is a fantastic set of techniques. Yeah. And they work. And I've done a lot of work on a lot of work. And there is always more layers to uncover, more layers to uncover if you choose to go there.
Yeah.
And
that's how life is designed.
yes,
Life is designed to give us more layers because we're designed to be evolutionary beings. We're not designed to get on a plateau and stay there. In fact, when you're on a plateau, that's indicator that you're going the other way.
right.
So if you don't clean up your stuff or break through your stuff or work on your stuff for evolution, well, we just don't know the end date yet. You're just on that plane.
Right.
So what I learned through all this is the beautiful part is it's just layers and bring me the next layer. And you start looking for the areas to keep developing and to keep growing.
And it is amazing as a coach that you will attract the clients, push your buttons and make you grow as a coach too. And I never put that fully together until I talked with Deb, and I was like telling her, I can't believe that that the clients I'm working with now are really kind of working on the same things that I'm working with. And she was like,
ta-da!
Attracting them, you've got work to do too. And I think the beauty of this coaching in NLP is, as you're helping somebody else, you're also helping yourself.
Yes.
Inevitably. I mean, you are 1 or 2 steps ahead of the person you're working with. And I think that should take a lot of fear away from people who are just diving into NLP, because you will attract the clients you need to attract.
And for your own self. Yes.
Get more tools in your tool belt. You'll start getting more difficult clients coming in because you can handle them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite parts is attracting the different clients, and you start seeing that as the opportunity for yourself.
Yeah.
And you use the word more difficult. To me, it gets easier, but they're deeper layers.
Deeper layers. Yes.
But you get enough competence in the work, you just find, aha, there's what I'm after. Is that right piece? Yeah.
Yes. It holds so true. And I, if you would have told me this 15 years ago, I would have gone, yeah, right. Whatever. Yeah. I'm woo, but that's a little bit too far off.
That's a little far out there. Yeah.
A little too far off the woo cliff.
I want to back up just for a minute, if I can. Yeah. I want to go back to the plant medicine and I'm not sure because I haven't done it, but we talked about that wedge, the critical factory. Mm-hmm. But when faculty, when somebody daydreams and they have a moment where they see life how it could be and it feels really good, you just bypass that wedge in that moment. And that maybe that's what happens with the plant medicine is you get past that and you get an idea, wow, there's a lot of stuff out there if I can get there. And then you come back to reality and that wedge is still there because the work has to be done on the wedge or around the wedge. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Right. And you can see the critical mind come back into play even while you're doing this work, because as this stuff bubbles up out of the subconscious, there's that editor, the critical mind that goes, is this real? Is that right? Is that correct? Am I making this up? Yep. And that's part of the coach working with the client, is to get them to accept what the subconscious is bubbling up. Yeah. Did you make it up? Is it reality? Is it whatever? I don't, who cares? Whatever. It's bubbling up. Let's work with it. Yeah. And then over time, you begin to go, oh, the subconscious mind really is a record of my life. It remembers everything, even though the critical mind doesn't remember everything.
No, it can't.
The conscious does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The critical mind is not designed to remember everything. It physically can't. The critical mind is to focus on a very small specter of what's really going on. Yep.
Right. So very true. Well, Carl, we have a masterclass coming up that starts tomorrow at 7, I believe, is the time that's slated. I'm pretty sure it's 7 p.m. There is a link, I believe, in the description. If that link is not in the description, I will put it in the comments. And hey, Theo, and hello, Heather. Great seeing you both in here. But that masterclass is with Deb and Brandon. That starts tomorrow. It's absolutely free. You're going to have, believe me, these two and Carl too. Everybody involved with Jaeger training is just full of freaking knowledge bombs. It's one after another. And let me tell you something. Their training is no joke. No, we did the the practitioner training with you guys a few weeks ago, and I'm used to going to training. I was like, yeah, okay. I had a preconception of what it was in my mind, and it was a fire hose of information just coming at you, which was beautiful. And Carl, I thought, there is no freaking way I'm going to remember a tenth of it. There's no way. It was just coming left and right, left and right, left and right. But the way you guys teach it, oh, by the way, they're teaching NLP. They're using NLP while they're teaching NLP, which is incredible. So you get to see it. You get to see the practice in practice as you're learning it, which makes it's fascinating. I mean, it's just absolutely fascinating. But that training was a lot. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to remember this. But as I start to work with people now, I'm like, oh, I do remember that. I do. I got to go back and look at my notes. But as soon as I read and look at the book, I'm like, oh, yeah, I got this. I remember this. So the way that it's set up is fantastic. Fantastic. And you'll get a taste of that in the masterclass. And what will be discussed in the masterclass is, for everybody out there who is looking to increase their business success, for coaches out there who are looking to increase their coaching success by getting results from your clients, which is the key. That's the biggest key. If you get results for your clients, guess what that client is going to do? They're going to go tell 3 friends. And it's just going to spread. So what I've seen in the coaching community, Carl, is these coaches, whether they're strength and conditioning coaches, whether they're nutrition coaches, or whatever, or they're functional medicine practitioners, or whatever their specialty is, they know that specialty inside and out. They are subject matter experts in that specialty. Where they trip is in the art of coaching.
Yep.
And it is an art. There's a science to it, yes, but it's also an art. And that is where they trip, because they attempt to coach their clients the way they came in. And, most coaches, most practitioners are in that smallest segment of, if you were to divide people out into segments, about 8 different segments, they are the segment that will absolutely change given information, just pure information. Read this study, read that study. Let me give you more information. Those people read it. They're like, okay, yeah, I'll change. That's the smallest bucket of people out there. Yet you're trying to coach to everybody in that methodology. And in fact, that's about 8% of the population, depending on who you ask. So let's just say it's 10%. There's 90% of the people out there, ergo 90% of your potential clients that you're not able to connect with. And that's a problem. That means you keep having to refill the top of the funnel. And it's aggravating and frustrating for people who are subject matter experts to go, why can't I get people to comply? That is what this class is going to get you started in that direction. And it doesn't matter whether you're trying to persuade somebody to buy something. It doesn't matter whether you're trying to persuade somebody in a leadership type of thing. It doesn't matter if you're trying to get people to comply with your coaching. It doesn't matter if you're trying to relate to your spouse. It is, at the end of the day, persuasion. And persuasion done ethically means results. Carl, can I explain it any better?
No, yeah, you did a really great job there. I think you did very well. I mean, absolutely, it's about getting clients more compliant. And what that allows you as a coach is to shorten the cycle you work with a client, and you can increase your rates because you get the results quicker. If you're talking about having to put things back in your sales funnel because you're only reaching out that at 8%, where you're leaving a lot of money on the table ethically. So how to get more people coming through your funnel to be actual clients who get great results and then give referrals, and how to have just better relationships overall, communicating with anybody. Yeah, for sure.
Right. I think if that's one area that I know now from going through the training. Yes, everything was fantastic, but just in my day-to-day relations with people, putting those ideas into play, those very simple ideas, my ability to relate to just everybody, the cashier at the store. I mean, it doesn't matter. Not even talking about clients, because yes, it works there too, but just relating to the world at large.
Simply communicating. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll just say a couple more things, right? In this time, this has been an interesting year, 2020. There's a lot of coaches out there that are struggling because of COVID. Well, from my experience, the COVID industry took off because of COVID.
Right.
There's so much work out there
Yeah.
if you've got everything ready to deal with what's going on. And we just realized with a lot of coaches, they don't have the adequate skill sets
Right.
to deal with what's going on and to lean into sales. They're great coaches, but maybe they haven't been trained all that well in sales or how to handle the objections.
Right.
And how to lean in because it's in the client's best interest, and how to finally charge what they're really worth.
Right.
Yeah.
And what I love the way you guys teach is it's so ethical.
Yep.
It is so very ethical because I've talked with other NLP practitioners, and I just got to feel that it wasn't coming from an ethical place. But the second I met Deb and Brandon, I didn't even know what they did. I was just like, I love these people. I mean, they're fabulous. And as I got to know them, I understood what they did. And I was like, huh. I mean, they're the first people who have been in that realm that I was instantly drawn to. There was no pushback from them. And then I met the rest of the Jaeger training team, yourself included, Carl, and that feeling is with all of you guys. Yeah. This is persuasion from an ethical perspective. And I think it's, like you said, it is needed now more than ever. The fallout of COVID and the help that people are going to need is going to be immense. Whether it's whatever type of coaching it is, whether it's health coaching, whether it's functional medicine type of coaching, whatever that coaching, whatever your specialty is, the world needs it. And you need to have the skills, the science and the art of the coaching side of it, and not just the subject matter expert side of it, which is a given. If you're going to coach, you need to be a subject matter expert. Yes. The downfall is no one teaches coaches how to coach. Yeah. Except for you guys.
And we're working hard on increasing that even more. How to teach everybody the art of it.
Right.
Because that's how you get clients more compliant. That's how you get them to do the work and get through it quicker, get the change faster.
Right. And I think too, when I went through that training a few weeks ago, I thought all the stay-at-home moms right now can really use this too, because relating to your kids and persuading your kids to the techniques you can use on your kids as well.
Any communication between two people.
Right.
And just for the clarity, that fire hose feeling is by design, because that gets past that critical faculty, that wedge. You can't keep up consciously.
Yes.
Which means now it all goes into the unconscious level. That is by design.
Yeah. And it is so effective. I'm telling you, I thought there is no way I'm going to remember. There's no way. It's just coming at me fast and furious. And Michelle was kind of the same way. She's like, oh my God, are we going to remember all this? And you do. I mean, you just sit back and a client appears and you're like, you're listening to them and you're like, already in your mind is like, okay, I see the path. I see the techniques I need to use. And you just roll with them and you trust yourself and it all works out. Yeah. It's fabulous. Carl, thank you very much for coming on, brother. I know
Thank you.
You have training today. So how long is the training you guys?
So we just finished day 6 of an 18-day trainers training.
Yeah.
Where these are already highly trained coaches that just want to up their game and take it to the next level. So it is a presentation training, but it's much more about presentations. It's about taking who they are as a human being and escalating that at probably 2 or 3 levels.
Right.
So we're in day 6 of an 18-day training. Yeah, we started today, I think at 10 o'clock, got out of there just a little while ago, and we're having a great time. Yeah. Many breakthroughs already in just the first few days.
Yeah. Let me tell you, this training is no joke. I mean, there is level after level after level after level. They're all super, super effective. I mean, we did a 3-day hypnosis training that was fabulous. I mean, it was absolutely fabulous. So much to get out of that. And it just stacks. It just stacks up. So I can imagine what these trainers are going through in 18 days of training. I'll be doing it at some point.
You will.
Yep, absolutely. Carl, thank you very much for coming on. And
you're welcome.
chatting a bit. I know you're tired. Thank you very much for coming.
Of course, no problem. Appreciate the opportunity.
Yep. Heather, we will see you at the event. I'm glad you're jumping in. You'll love Heather. She's awesome. And everybody else out there in the Paleo FX world, we will talk again soon. Peace out. Carl, I will see you soon, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Keith. All right.
All right, guys. Bye now.